Okay, so I'm really nervous to do this because I haven't been online in a really long time. Um, and I know who I am, but I know that there's been a reputation kind of built for me in the last 4 years. So I'm really just making this video for any mother, it doesn't really matter what color you are, who has been grieving a living child for any amount of time. And if you don't know what it means to say grieving a living child, that means that your child is still alive, but they're not with you. I have been grieving my living child now for it'll be 5 years this May. Like many Black mothers, I'm not afraid to say it, ran into trouble with CPS over any type of issue. In my case, I called CPS. My daughter told me that she had been molested by her godfather, and I took action about it. I called the police, I called CPS, and then a family friend called in behind me and blamed it all on me. In the process of all this, I had become homeless because an establishment where I was living locked me out during the COVID no lockout period. So I had a choice. I had been away from my family for about 3 or 4 years, and I had the choice of either leaving my daughter with my biological aunt on my dad's side, or taking my daughter to a shelter, which in Houston, if anybody knows anything about Houston or any major city at all, that's no place for a child. I had been on drugs, and I had not been taking medications that I was supposed to be taking, so it was an easy fix in my mind. I had not seen this woman for like 3 years. I knew that she didn't really care for me. She didn't really like me. She has never liked me since I was a child. But I didn't want my daughter to be waking up to someone touching her in the middle of the night, or anything else that goes on in a shelter with a single parent mother. I don't want to tell my whole story, but I do want to say that I understand what it's like to grieve a living child, because my aunt had me write a letter saying that I would never come to get my child, but she said she would never use it against me. Time went on. I fell into depression. I went to rehab. I relapsed. I got out, and I tried to contact her, and she would not respond to my communications after a certain amount of time, to the point that I had to call the police on her to do a well check on my daughter, which she never produced the child, my daughter, and lied to them, the police, and told them that CPS case was still open, and look at this letter that she wrote me. You know, family can be very interesting. We can't really choose who we're born to, but you would think that even if someone doesn't care for you so much, when it involves a child, that they will try to protect you and your child. My aunt had the ability for me and my daughter to stay together. Instead, she cast me out on the streets, homeless, and told me to find my own place to be. I really don't know how much support she thought that I would find on the streets of Houston on a bus at midnight, but I also don't understand how long she thought it would take, or is there ever a certain amount of time that anybody should be given a deadline as to when they should get their whole life together and be able to come back and be stable-minded, free of drugs, and able to take care of a child. But I guess she caught wind that I relapsed out of rehab and I had to go back to another rehab. I relocated and start my entire life over. And I don't know how much money she thought I was going to have to do anything if I had no clothes and nowhere to stay. But I guess she called herself giving up on me, and maybe she never wanted to give my child back, some people said. And she just pulled the plug. I have emailed her, I have called her, I have texted her, and to be honest with you, I don't even know where my daughter is, because she told me with her own words in the summer of 2022 that she was at someone else's house. I have been subdued in silence for the last 4 years. I made one video on a GoFundMe fundraiser that I tried to do. And other than that, I have not shown my face online for the last 4 years because I said that I did not want my face or any videos online until I get my biggest fan back, and that is my daughter. I have had lawyers that will not even call me back for some reason when I call them. I've had lawyers that I've given money to that they ghosted me after some amount of time. And it was funny because this gentleman told me one day, be careful because when you're in custody battles, your family will call your job. Well, I did have my job listed on LinkedIn. And it's funny because just the summer of this last year is when I started having problems on my job so bad that I was performing, but it wasn't enough for whatever reason, and I had to walk away. I will get my daughter back this year. I will do whatever the hell it takes, because it's to the point where I don't even have any more tears. And some people may see me and think, oh, she's so happy. She wears makeup. She doesn't miss her daughter. So do you really think that my 10-year-old would want me to be walking around every day with my head down and crying in and day out every day? I don't think so. Because the daughter that I have, the last time I saw, was 6 years old. She was very happy. She was very happy. And she always wanted to be happy. And she would not want me to be unhappy. I don't have a boyfriend. I don't have a husband. But I do live my life. I am still fighting for her every day. So if you're grieving a living child, this video is for you. It doesn't matter what color you are. All colors of women get their children taken from them, or something happens to their children, whether they leave them with their baby daddy or their ex-husband and they end up in another state or another country. It doesn't matter. It happens to so many women. One thing I do want to say though, I am here to defy the standard or the stereotype that Black women just can't take care of their kids. This woman is my blood relative, and she's technically kidnapped my child. If you are grieving a living child, I am praying for you. And for anyone involved with what has happened in terms of the separation of me and my daughter, I am coming for you.